I've been wanting to do the gem nails for a while because people have been asking me questions about how do you make them stay and how do you make them last without chipping, things like that. So there is an easy method and there's a hard method, and I think you have to do it the hard method because that's just, it ensures that it will last. So what you need is a little poly gel. I use the Model 1's one, but you can use any poly gel. I have a thick non-white overlay, and this is the best thing ever. This is all I use for all of my 3D designs, and sometimes I use it to secure gems, but using the poly gel will ensure that it will stick on there. And then just a top coat. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put a dollop, like the smallest dollop of poly gel on the ends. Here, I'm gonna place this on the end. Arrange it to the shape of where I want the crystal to go to. So I'm going to actually do that off camera and I'll be back. I've shaped the poly gel into kind of the areas where I want to put the gems, kind of in a little French line. Still leave a little bit of a thick layer on there because I want the gems to sink in. And also, I forgot this, but before you do this, so imagine you're doing it on top of a color gel already. What I like to do is I buff the area where the rhinestones go, or I use those little like nail e-files to get to certain places if they're like tiny places. So after I do the basic mapping, it doesn't have to be very exact. I'll get a little pearl because I love pearls. So kind of press it in there and let it sink a little bit. Press it in there and arrange the rest of your gems. This is not going to be the cutest thing ever because I'm just doing it for a demo. So I'm going to press that in there. We'll use this gem right here. Press it in there. And let's do a little caviar bead. Press a little caviar bead in there. I'm going to go off camera and arrange this and I'll come back. But the important thing here is to press the gems into the poly gel. So I've attached all the gems now. If you have a little excess poly gel peeking out, you can kind of scrape it off with your wooden stick and just like scrape off the ends like that. Tap, 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 tap. Make sure everything is squeezed into place, right? And you cure the poly gel. I'm gonna use my thick non-wipe overlay and I'm going to go over all the little tiny cracks. I'm gonna go over under and around here, around the edges. I'm gonna go over only the caviar beads right now because it's a thicker viscosity. So I like coating my pearls too because it's cheap pearls, pearl rhinestones. So the coating comes off easily, but I don't want to do it with a thick builder gel because it gets kind of bulky. So I like doing it with a thinner top coat when we top coat the whole thing. I'm gonna go over each. I'm gonna start on the edges. It's kind of hard to see on camera, but I'm gonna go over each of the edges, each of the little cracks. Let's see. On the sides. You know, this is the hardest part of filming reels because I really can't see. I have a hard time seeing. So like I said, I'm gonna go over the caviar beads because the metal coating on that comes off too. So yeah, just fill in all the little tiny cracks, but I don't want to go over the gems because they lose their shine and the facets get erased because obviously there's like a layer of the top coat. So I'm gonna flip it over I'm gonna do most of this off camera, but I just wanted to show you that I go over all of the cracks. All of the cracks. There's a caviar bead here. And I'm gonna go over here on the ends like that. I'll do a more thorough job off camera, but just because I can't really see that well. But I make sure to get the edges here. So this way, when you go in the shower or when you're wearing a sweater, it's not gonna tug. And on the ends, it gets a little bulky here, but I'll wipe off, I'll take off the excess after I'm done with everything so that there isn't like this weird little bump. Okay, so I'm gonna come back. I've gone into all the cracks. I've done the edges and I've covered my caviar beads. I've covered my caviar beads with this thick top coat. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cure this and I'm gonna come back. I've cured the gems and now we have the final step, finally. So I was talking about the easier step and the harder step, right? The easier step would be to ignore the thick top coat layer and just go in with a thin top coat and overlay everything like we did with the cracks and the sides and going over the pearls and the caviar beads. But if I'm going on a vacation and I'm going to be away for 2-3 weeks and I want my gems to stay in place and my pearls and my caviar beads to not chip off, like the coating of it, I do this step because I think it's necessary. So what I'm going to do with a top coat is I'm going to do kind of the same thing, but I'm going to focus on top coating the pearls and the caviar beads one more time because they're tiny, they're a little fragile, they'll pop off if you don't secure them properly. So I'll do the sides, but I'll focus more on doing the pearls, doing the sides, and then I'm going to not cure it and top coat the whole nail so it blends in and I will be done. So let me do a little demo. I have a little bit of top coat. I'll buy a thin liner brush and like I said, I'm gonna go over the pearls now. I'm gonna do a thick layer over the pearls like this. I'm gonna go over the pearls. I'm gonna go over the sides one more time. Do the sides one more time. Go over the beads. I've gone over all of the pearls and the caviar beads, the sides, the cracks, and now I'm just gonna put top coat and I'm going to blend it in. So blend in that top coat. We might go over the pearls one more time, just to ensure that they're all covered. And this is basically the final look. I'm gonna cure it and I'll come back. So here's the finished look. Yeah, it looks good. And no matter how many times you run your fingers through your hair, this isn't gonna get caught on your hair. It's not gonna get caught on your sweaters. It lasts a pretty good long time. I've worn it on vacation before and it lasted me throughout the whole vacation. Yeah, I would say if you follow those steps that I've told you and you do it meticulously, you have to be really, really detail oriented with this. You will have lasting gems. And I think if the gems were bigger, they're easier actually because you don't have to go through all these little tiny steps. So if they're big gems, you can just place it on, like I said. And they'll stay on for longer. But it's just these little tiny things that you have to watch out for. But yeah, that's it.